The world wars have begun, with Britain, France, and Russia squaring off against Germany and the Central Powers. Modern weaponry is causing mass devastation on the battlefields. And tens of thousands of soldiers are now living in overcrowded trenches.
Very soon after the war began, both sides realized we can entrench, and the other side can't move us out. They can move us backwards a little bit, but only at horrendous cost. And as a result of this, the war just bogged down in the muds of northern France.
But in London, one man is convinced he can break the stalemate.
He comes up to the barman and says, I would like a...
Born into one of the wealthiest families in Britain, he's risen through the ranks at unusual speed to become the head of the British Navy. His name is Winston Churchill.
Churchill had the most enormous self-confidence, and it's easy to see why that was the case. He was the son of Lord Randolph Churchill, who was a brilliant politician, and so Churchill, from a very young man, saw himself, almost by divine right, as playing a leading role in politics.
Churchill forms a bold plan that he's certain will change the Allies' fortunes.
He, even at that point, considered himself a strategist. And he looked for ways to break the stalemate in Western Europe rather than just to get more armies and more artillery. And it actually is fairly thoughtful.
What if we could send the fleet to the south, into the Black Sea?
Resupply the Russians?
Well, yes, exactly.
But there's no way.
Well, yes, there is. Through Gallipoli.
Gallipoli? No.
This is our way in.
With all due respect, we are here to provide
This
information.
is what we are doing.
A lot of the people Churchill worked with thought he was a man of contradictions, a maverick, a loose cannon. He was known as someone to watch. His friends would say someone to watch because he's very talented, and his enemies would say someone to watch because he's dangerous.
The Gallipoli Peninsula is heavily guarded by the Central Powers. Churchill's plan is to blast through the narrow strait, pushing through to Russia, and allowing the Allies to launch an overwhelming attack from the east, opening up a second front against Germany. If it's successful, the Allies will be able to turn the tide of the war and crush the Central Powers. More than 100 warships set sail for what will be the largest amphibious invasion the world has ever seen.
People often ask me, what's the most difficult decision you've ever made? It's always the decision of sending men into battle, and the worst part of it all is the night that the battle begins. Because you know you just launched something, and you know that within a few hours, you will start getting calls from the battlefield, from your commanders out in the field, that will tell you how many young men have died.
Yes? They're halfway up the straits.
They should have broken through by now.
They'll make it.
4 ships sunk. Another burning.
Losses were to be expected.
The fleet is requesting permission to turn back.
They are to press on at all costs. This is war.
Gallipoli, I don't think, could ever have worked. The troops who stormed ashore were met by a hail of machine gun fire and artillery, and the casualties were appalling.
The invasion is a devastating failure. 56,000 Allied troops are killed. and nearly 200,000 are reported injured or missing. Almost no ground is gained, and the supply route to Russia remains closed off.
I think Churchill's credibility after Gallipoli was certainly called into question. Warfare is not a science. The one thing you do know when you commit to warfare is it's going to be horrible.
The public is outraged by the carnage. Someone will have to take the blame.
It's over.
The plan was sound.
Excuse me?
The plan was sound. All we needed to do was keep pushing
I'm afraid
forward.
your services as First Lord of the Admiralty are no longer required. I'll expect your letter of resignation in the morning.
When Churchill was let go, he thought his career was over, finished. And that wasn't melodrama on his part, and he could be melodramatic. It appeared that it would be finished. It's hard to imagine Churchill being humbled by something like Gallipoli, but he was chastened. He thought, never again. The next time, if there's a next time, and it didn't look like there would be, I'll do it right.
Defeated and humiliated, Churchill's career is all but ruined. He's offered a desk job, which he turns down. He knows if he's ever going to redeem himself, he needs a new path. So Churchill does the unthinkable. He enlists in the British Army and heads straight for the front lines.